In a potentially shocking development, Pete Parsons, studio head of Bungie and curator of Cars, has officially left the company. Now, in a mix of words released just today on August the 21st, we have an official article from Bungie actually, according to this, some time ago, but I guess the news hadn't broken for some time. Maybe I need to check my Twitter. Either way, we have a message directly from Pete Parsons as follows. After more than 2 decades of helping build this incredible studio, establishing the Bungie Foundation, and growing inspiring communities around our work, I have decided to pass the torch. This journey has been the honor of a lifetime, and I'm deeply proud of the worlds we've built together and the millions of players who call them home. And most of all, I am privileged by the opportunity to work alongside the incredible minds at Bungie. When I was asked to lead in Bungie in 2015, my goal was to grow us into a studio capable of creating and sustaining iconic, generation-spanning entertainment. We've been through so much together. We've launched a bold new chapter for Destiny, built an enviable, independent live ops organization capable of creating and publishing its own games, and joining the incredible family at Sony Interactive Entertainment. I'm not gonna lie, that last one, that sounded all kind of fluff. Enviable? I don't think anyone really envies Bungie right now with the world they've built. Regardless, today marks the right time for a new beginning. The future of Bungie will be in the hands of a new generation of leaders, and I am thrilled to announce that Justin Truman will be stepping into leadership as Bungie's new studio head. I have worked alongside Justin for many years. His passion for our games, our team, and our players is unmatched. As a leader in engineering, production, and design, and most recently as general manager for Destiny 2 and our chief development officer, he has been instrumental in bringing some of the most memorable moments in Bungie's history to life. He lives and breathes the studio, and I have full confidence that he is the right person to lead Bungie forward. Thank you for being the best, the most passionate community in gaming. It has been a privilege to serve you. As for me, I'll be second star to the right and straight on till morning. I don't get that reference if that is a reference, but eventually followed up immediately after a message from Justin Truman. In the 15 years I've been a developer at Bungie, I've worn a lot of different hats. As an engineer, I wrote some code I'm really proud of for our original weapons, abilities, and networking in Destiny 1. As a designer, I helped craft many of our Destiny 2 systems, including some of the endgame systems I got terribly wrong at Destiny 2 launch. I'm guessing he was the double primary man. As a producer, I helped our team build and roll out Destiny 2's first seasons. Most recently, I've helped with our overall talent strategy as Chief Development Officer and have been helping the Marathon team as we build our next world. Interesting. Across all of these different roles, Bungie's purpose has stayed clear. We create worlds that inspire friendship. I mean, yeah, that inspire meta builds and, all that. When we are at our best, we create those worlds alongside you, our player community, and build something that matters, something that's worth your time, your passion, and your investment in us. Something that I've learned hopefully over-delivers. No, not recently, sir. While we are at our best, we create those worlds alongside you, our player community, and build something that meant. I'm rereading it. I've also been a part of those efforts at Bungie that we've maybe not been at our best. When we've stumbled and realized through listening to our community that we have missed the mark. Well, mostly listening to streamers. I know I've personally learned a lot over these years, as all of us hear from those conversations. I am committed to supporting and working alongside every member of the team as we continue pouring our hearts and souls into these worlds that we love and that we hope to have been worth your time and your passion, because ultimately those worlds only exist and thrive with you in them. We are hard at work right now doing that, both with Marathon and Destiny. We're currently heads down, but we have more to show you in both those worlds later this year. In closing, I know I can speak for all of Bungie when I say I appreciate your passion, your perspective, and the time you spend with us. Per Audacia at Astra, Justin Truman, studio head at Bungie. Now, I need to check who Truman is, just to be sure real quick. I had to do a check just because I wasn't sure if it was or not, but thankfully it is not the man who is in charge of the dev streams. I thought it was. If I thought that guy was going to be sudden to studio head, I was going to be a lot more concerned, but there is still a bit of concern. So right now, in terms of what the Bungie Bulletin or Destiny Bulletin has reported, of course, Justin Truman, who I think I recognize from a variety of shows and Vidocs and everything else, is officially new studio head. And of course, there is a few other things to detail. Blake Battle is now the general manager, according to Paul Tassi. And of course, here's another talking about his post and his message. And yep, Destiny Truman, please add Wrath the Machine. But otherwise, yes, Bungie's former CEO, Pete Parsons, is retiring from his role. Now, there's an important thing to think of right here. Right now, with Sony breaking down Bungie in part ways, or at least Bungie losing its independence, Was this a suggested retiring, or did Pete Parsons see the writing on the walls and just turned in all of his stock while the stock was still, enough price? It's impossible to say for sure unless the man himself comes out and says. I personally think maybe he just jumped ship while the ship wasn't entirely burnt down, if that makes sense. But it's entirely possible that Sony said, Pete Parsons, get the hell out, or we're going to replace you with somebody you don't want replacing. So he just left it in the hands of Bungie. That is, of course, my own theory, as everything else. Nothing's for certain until they actually say it. But in the end, is this a potential W? Well, I think it's better for Bungie's image, because unfortunately Pete Parsons was never losing the kind of scorch mark on his career that was showing off his cars to his employees the day before they were laid off en masse. That unfortunately is going to always live with him, and the name Pete Parsons is going to be known as the car guy at Bungie that, all the stuff I just mentioned. So with that, unfortunately, I think his time was numbered either way, because I think he just kind of had a stain on his time at Bungie. So I do think him moving on is going to be good for the company. Obviously, may not be good for him. Who knows if he's actually retiring from working at developers, period. But either way, it's good to see that right now, Bungie leadership is changing. Unfortunately, there is plenty of people right now who would rather see it completely restructured, as in all of the names we are familiar with out and replaced with somebody else that we are possibly known. That is what some people do want. I am partial to that. I was definitely under the stance that Bungie leadership needed reworking, and this is definitely a stage into that sort of way. So with that, I do agree that right now, this news is definitely a good development from Bungie. The fact that Bungie leadership is changing. Because unfortunately, the big thing that people had put on Bungie is that their leadership was either out of touch, they didn't have good right priorities. There was a number of things that people were saying about Bungie leadership specifically, not the devs themselves, but specifically those in charge. And with that, it sounds like things are actually happening at the company, as opposed to just continuing on pretending like it's normal. But with that, that is what I wanted to end up talking about in this video. Like I mentioned, who knows if this is Pete Parsons leaving because he smelled the roses and saw it was time to officially depart. Who knows if Sony was pressuring him to actually leave the company because, of course, the stain that was the car issue. Either way, there isn't any number of reasons why Pete left. He could have been coup de grace, or what's the word? Coup d'etat, if that's the actual proper word. But either way, however, he is now no longer with the company. He is no longer studio head, and there has been successions in the line. So with that, that is all I wanted to speak of on this behalf. Let me know in the comments down below. Who is blowing up my phone? Let me know in the comments down below what you think regarding Pete Parsons' departure. Is it a really good thing for Bungie in the future? Or is this just signs that, it is actually over for Bungie? Because, it could be another sign of that. Who knows? But in the end, my name is the Mad Scorpion, and I will see you in the next video.